You're listening to 15 Minutes, where we feature community leaders sharing what the rest of us should know but likely don't. Hi, Chad Franzen here, co-host of 15 Minutes, where we talk with top-notch law firms and lawyers about what it takes to grow a successful law practice. This episode is brought to you by Gladiator Law Marketing, delivering tailor-made services to help you accomplish your objectives and maximize your growth potential. To have a successful marketing campaign and make sure you're getting the best ROI, your firm needs to have a better website and better content. Gladiator Law Marketing uses artificial intelligence, machine learning, and decades of experience to outperform the competition. To learn more, go to gladiatorlawmarketing.com or schedule a free marketing consultation. Michael Rutkowski is the owner of trustfunding.com and Rutkowski Law Firm, which is focused on asset protection, estate planning, business succession planning, and elder law. Michael's passion is helping people, whether it's in estate planning, business coaching, or the gym he runs out of his garage. Helping others is what gets him out of bed every day. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for such a detailed intro. Love it.
Hey, tell me about everything that you have going on before we get into kind of your story. You got trustfunding.com. You've got your own law firm. Tell me a little bit about some of that.
Yeah, I've been so I have the law firm which focuses on the things you just went over. I've been doing that for 15 years. I've been growing that kind of exponentially. We've had to pivot during COVID, obviously, and now we're 100% virtual, and we're planning to stay that way. I've got some young daughters, they're 10, 8, and 6, and I plan to be here with them every day. So it's just great. Over the last year, we launched Your Turn to go put your stuff into that trust you want to draft it. And so this company is kind of just like taking it over the finish line for clients, because a lot of times it gets overwhelming, life gets in the way, and then nothing ends up going into your trust, which doesn't then accomplish your goals in estate planning.
Okay, great. So, hey, how did you get started? Tell me how you got started in your career as an attorney.
Yeah, great question. So I originally started out like the more litigation type work. I was doing workers' comp insurance defense. I was doing trials, depositions, you name it, like the TV lawyer, that was me. And all of a sudden my friends started having kids and they were like, Mike, I know I need to do something here. Is it a will? Is it a trust? I don't know, but can you help me? And I was like, well, I'm a lawyer, I could download a couple forms and figure this out. And so I did, and I just like absolutely fell in love with it. So instead of, your typical attorney, like no one's ever happy with the result or the bill or all these things, it's like a totally different world in estate planning where like you're done and like someone hugs you and you're like, what just happened? Like, this is amazing. And so, I have a passion for helping people, and I just knew like, this is what I need to do going forward.
So Rutkowski Law has been in place for, more than a decade. What were you doing up until that time?
Yeah. So I had a background in sales and business marketing. So I've been in kind of sales all my life, went to law school. When I graduated law school, I jumped right into the practice. So I did like a 2-year accelerated law school, which was absolutely terrible. Passed the bar exam and then jumped right into practice. But again, it was more like the TV style lawyering versus now what I'm doing today, which is helping families all over the state of Michigan, get their ducks in a row, providing peace of mind.
When you first started, what were how did that transition go? What were the early days of your company like?
Yeah, it was, a lot of hustling to network, right? Because like in estate planning, it's very relationship based. So I'm joining every type of networking group out there, whether it's a BNI, which I would highly recommend if you're just getting started, to like your local, business chapter, your cities, they all have their things, but it was just all like relationships, tapping into my friends and family network to just see who I could help. And, in the beginning days, I would pretty much do stuff for free just to learn how to do it. That was a long time ago, obviously now, but, it's a relationship-based practice. And so, I lean heavily on my professional relationships as well as my personal relationships to help as many families as we can.
Was there a time in your life that you knew that this is what you said you've had a passion for helping people? When did you decide that this was how you were going to do it?
Yeah, it was almost immediate. That's a great question too. As soon as I saw that the legal profession could provide a career for me that allowed me to still be passionate about what I do, I was like, I just absolutely need to do this. And I think the clients we work with feel that too, just like, my empathy for them and just my love for helping. And I think that's why we just started exponentially growing because, what it's funny, one of our core values is don't be an attorney, right? Because like your stereotypical attorney just like tells you what to do. They don't listen to you. They just know more than you. And they kind of are condescending a little bit. And I'm like, I just want to be the complete opposite of that. Like we have, two ears and one mouth for a reason. Like listen to people and help them.
When did you know that would be an important quality to have given the stereotype for attorneys?
I think when it started growing faster than I anticipated. I think that the families we worked with just absolutely loved it, and they were referring their friends and family to us. And I was like, I think there's something unique here. And then also just as a leader, people wanted to work in the organization. We started growing, in no time at all, we're to like 15, 16 employees. And before COVID, we were like 5 offices spread out all over the state. So we were just, the demand for working with a law firm that understands people is out there. It's definitely a thing.
Is there what are some big turning points in your company with Rutkowski Law?
Yeah, great. You're knocking it out of the park with the good ones.
Hey,
today.
thank you.
I think what really, there was one meeting in particular I will remember for the rest of my life. I was meeting with a pre-planning funeral director, right? Like they're pre-selling your services in the funeral space. And he kind of gave me some insight. He's like, you need to start like talking in large groups of people, start doing presentations. And he's like, just put an ad in the newspaper. That's what we do. I guarantee you people are going to show up. And so this was probably 5 years into my practice. I started doing like group presentations, and it just became a staple in how we grew so quickly. It's just because in estate planning, you got to educate. People kind of know that they need it, but they have no idea what that looks like. I mean, most families call our office looking for a will. So any opportunity I can get to be out there talking to a group is where I find the most value. And I just love public speaking. I didn't know I did until I started doing it. I'm like, this is just absolutely amazing. So up until the pandemic, I mean, we were probably doing 10 presentations a month all over the place, and it was so much fun.
Wow, great. Hey, is there a big challenge that you have had to overcome, either personally or professionally?
Yes. Call it March of 2020. I think we all remember that time in our life. So estate planning is a very in-person thing, right? Like I just said, we were doing in-person presentations. It was probably 85 to 90% of our revenue was coming from those presentations. And all of a sudden, we can't meet with people in person. We can't do presentations in person. The whole business model needs to switch. And so 2 points, we use EOS, if you're familiar with it, from the book Traction. Highly recommend it to any entrepreneur, small business out there. That really was a turning point for us. And then once we switched to a virtual model, like using the EOS process to get the leadership team together, quickly pivot to how are we going to do this and move the ship going forward. And then we did, and we absolutely fell in love with it, and we're not going back. So many estate planning attorneys have, the pandemic's over. They're like right back to being in person. Not us. Now we have employees all over the country. We're doing everything virtual, and truly our client base just loves it. They're like, I can do this from my kitchen table, from my couch. Like, this is the way to do it. And it's just been great. Now we had to replace the revenue that was coming from all of those in-person workshops. We're doing webinars and we're doing other things, but we've been able to do it, and now we're growing again, and it's amazing.
Great. Hey, was there when you started Rutkowski Law, was there anything you'd had experience as an attorney and things like that? Was there anything though, upon becoming like the guy who's in charge, that you didn't know that you didn't know? Like I didn't realize that this was going to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, I would say running a business is pretty eye-opening. And to this day, I joke, but kind of don't joke that like I'm still making it up every day. Like, I constantly am reading books and talking to people about how to improve, but like every day I'm trying to get better at it because there's so many things I still don't know, and I'm learning every day. And it's just a wild ride, but I absolutely love it.
How are things going with your new business that you started this summer?
Good. Yeah. So launched that July 1st. Initially, it was supposed to be for consumers, right? For consumers to have their individuals, to have their trust funded that maybe was done by another attorney. I've been reached out to by so many other estate planning attorneys to reaching out to me saying like, can you take this off my plate? I want nothing to do with it. And so we've now developed this model that we didn't even anticipate from the beginning, that we're just like a back office solution to other estate planners out there, because they all know the value in doing this. They just don't want the headache that comes along with it. So that's been, and it's taken off like crazy too.
What element of business would you say you enjoy the most, and which one are you're like on the treadmill trying to learn fast?
I enjoy the most helping others, truly. I'm part of other estate planning masterminds and just providing help to others, like maybe a step or two behind me to like, hit that next level. It's where I absolutely love it. And so I'm actually doing some coaching of other attorneys to kind of, if they want to get to 7 figures or whatever their goals are, to just put in place a plan to get there. That's what really excites me. It's kind of like you mentioned in the beginning, like I run a gym out of my garage. I got like 10 guys from the subdivision that come over every morning at 5:30 a.m. I don't make $1 off it, but that is probably like the favorite part of every day. It's just helping others, reach their fitness goals or whatever it is.
What happens every morning?
Oh, it's CrossFit. So it's, we're doing box jumps and power cleans and squats and all that fun stuff.
Very nice. Very nice. Hey,
Yeah.
Has there been a big mistake or pitfall that you've had to learn a lot from?
I would say if I could rewind the clock and do this all over, some financial controls would have been like, and a book I highly recommend to anyone is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. This just really, if I could have known that from the beginning, I would have grown it a lot differently, because, like when the pandemic hit, it was like, oh my gosh, the revenue that supports the firm is taking a dive here. Like, what are we going to do? And I think just financial controls would have been really nice, because back pre-pandemic, we were at like a $2 million revenue firm at the time. And I take home more now from my firm than I did back then, just because of financial controls. And I just wish I would have had that. So anyone at any point in your career, read that book. It's incredible.
What is your proudest moment? What's a moment where you look back on that you're especially proud of in your career?
I think it's just, continuing to grind it out. There's days that it's not fun. There's lots of days that it's super fun. But, on those days that it's just a challenge, to just keep at it, keep at it. I think it's owning a business is a long game. And, you can't anticipate a ton of success in the beginning, and you just got to keep doing it. But now, I'm to a point where I'm not meeting with clients as much. I'm more a visionary in the business with a marketing role, kind of, to the point now where it's like all the effort put in, it's like freedom of time and money, and all those things are actually happening. And it's been worth it. It was a long road, but it's been worth it.
What is some of the best advice you've received, maybe from a mentor or somebody like that?
That's a tough one. I think the EOS was one of and everything that comes along with running a business, just having systems and processes. And like, there comes a point in time where you need to treat your business like a grown-up business, right? Like, and EOS was really helpful. And the implementers and coaches that I've had along the way to implement that has been just really, really solid.
What are a few of your daily rituals or routines that you find most important? What's kind of in a typical day?
Yeah, personal and business?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, usually up super early to work out, like checking the box on working out is super important, just to have that routine. From there, I do like 10 minutes of meditation. Like I started that about a year ago, and that's really, really awesome. So like my morning routine is like what gets me going every day. It's like make the bed and do all those things, but it's almost like to the minute the same every day. And then I think it's, it's like the time to put into marketing every day that like is the non-negotiable, like put in 2 hours every day, because the effort you put in today provides the referrals and everything in the future. And if you stop today, you're not going to see the immediate impact, but you will in a couple months. So it's just, my morning structure, and then that non-negotiable 2 hours of professional relationship development and the things I do in the 2 hours. And then the day kind of falls apart after that.
Do you drink coffee?
All day.
Yeah, you've got great energy. Hey, I've got one more question for you, but first tell me how people can find out more about all the things that you've got going on, whether it's your law firm or anything else.
Yeah, sure. Probably the easiest way to reach me is by email. It's mlr@rutkowskilawfirm.com, rutkowski lawfirm.com. Go to my website, Rutkowski Law Firm, connect with me there. I'd be happy to jump on a Zoom call with anyone, but I'm not leaving my house, right? So it's going to be Zoom. And talk about, anything that might be of value to you, or, if there's something I can do to help out, it's what I'm passionate about. So I'd be happy to jump on a half-hour Zoom call if there's anything I can help someone with.
Hey, last question for you. You mentioned that you're constantly reading books, things like that. You've mentioned a few books. What are some books that you have found particularly valuable in your journey, especially as kind of running your own business, things like that?
Yeah. Some of the best books I've read, truly, like I love the series of the Mike McCallum stuff. So Pumpkin Plan, Profit First, those are two absolutely great ones. Traction, the EOS model, that one is one to live by. And then, there's some really other good ones like the 10X rule. And what are some other good ones? I don't know, you put me on the spot there, but
sure.
It seems like I've either read them or audiobooked them all. And then you know what I do? I do it again. I like so many books I'll read again. And I'm like, was that the same book I read 5 years ago? Just crazy.
Yeah.
You just catch different things because you're just at a different spot in your journey of all of this.
Yeah, I bet. Hey, Michael, it's been great to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time and best of luck with everything moving forward in the future.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
So long, everybody. Thanks for listening to 15 Minutes. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time.